What is the most difficult thing you ever faced? I think for me, it was going to war the first time back in Desert Storm. You didn't know if you were coming back or not. And I would sometimes have like an anxiety attack. I would be sitting still and relaxing, and then all of a sudden, this vision would come to my mind of me laying in the sand with my head in the sand, face down, and blood around me. You just didn't know what to expect. But what was even more difficult than facing the possibility of dying, I didn't want to have my kids go through that, to know that maybe their dad wouldn't be back, or my wife when I was saying goodbye and I saw the hurt in her eyes. It hurt me. Every one of us have faced pain in our lives and very difficult times. In the book of John, we read where Jesus, having his last Passover with his disciples, and he tells them that this would be the last one, that they wouldn't see him anymore, that he was leaving this earth. Well, they were crushed because they were close friends for 3 years, but also they had these big dreams. He's the king, he's the Messiah, he's the one that was going to free Israel from Rome, and he was the one who was going to bring in a new era for the world. He was going to bring hope and bring peace. And now he shatters their dreams. So what do you do when there's turmoil, and how do you make sense of your world when your world is turned upside down? Jesus, he says this to his disciples in John 14, beginning at verse 15. If you love me, keep my commands. Well, let me pause there a moment. On this whole thing about peace, I want to say this about keeping commands. Why does that make a difference? You know, a lot of times when we have difficulties and we do not have peace in our lives, it's because we're not keeping God's commands. God knows us. God made us. He knows what's best for us. And if we don't follow that, we can make a mess out of our lives. We can go down a downhill spiral and really make a big mess out of our lives. And we then will be in distress and anxiety and depression, and we will turn into someone who has no joy. And so obedience to God equals relationship. I obey God because just like I know about my parents, when they told me things, they knew what was best for me. At least most of the time my parents did. God knows what's best for me all the time. So you obey him, you'll have more peace in your life because you're not going to bring trouble to yourself. But then sometimes trouble comes anyway. And sometimes it's hard to keep the peace in our own minds because things happen, life happens. If you love me, keep my commands. And I will ask the Father, and he will give you another advocate to help you and be with you forever, the Spirit of truth. The world cannot accept him because it neither sees him nor knows him. But if you know him, for he lives with you and will be with you in you, I will not leave you as orphans. I will come to you. Before long, the world will not see me anymore, but you will see me. Because I live, you also will live. On that day, you will realize that I am in my Father, and you are in me, and I am in you. Whoever has my commands and keeps them is the one who loves me. The one who loves me will be loved by my Father, and I too will love them and show myself to them. Then Judas, not Judas Iscariot, said, Lord, why do you intend to show yourself to us and not the world? Jesus replied, anyone who loves me will obey my teaching. My Father will love them and will come to them and make our home with them. Anyone who does not love me will not obey my teaching. These words you hear are not my own. They belong to the Father who sent me. All this I've spoken while still with you, but the Advocate, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, will teach you all things and will remind you of everything I've said to you. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. So sometimes we bring things on ourselves, and that tears up any chance of being content and having peace. And sometimes it's not our fault. And when that happens, sometimes we expect other people to fix things for us. I mean, just think about the political world where you have politicians making big promises and how they're going to lower taxes or they're going to give these great benefits or whatever it is, and it's going to solve your problems. And we are going to keep peace and stability in our nation. Well, I hope we do have peace and stability in our nation. That will not help the peace that you have. Jesus gives the peace the world cannot give. In his days, it was a political solution. They called it Pax Romana, the peace of Rome. But the peace of Rome came at a great cost. As long as the people obeyed the Roman Empire and didn't revolt against them, then you were okay. Well, the Jewish people did revolt against the Roman Empire, and in AD 70, Jerusalem was destroyed. So that kind of peace does not last. Nothing that anyone can give us, nothing that any political system can give us, nothing that the world can give us. The only thing that lasts is knowing that your relationship with the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit is intact. That you are living for Him and with Him and by Him. Jesus said He was going to send the counselor or the advocate or helper or friend. And I tell you, when I'm going through some stuff, going through some hard times, it's nice to have a friend to talk to. Somebody who will listen. Somebody who will ask questions to get me to think what I really should be about. That's what the Holy Spirit does. God bless you.